70,000 years ago, a group of humans stood at the edge of the world. In front of them, open water, no end in sight, no map, no compass, no word in their language for what lay on the other side, because no one had ever come back to tell them. Behind them, everything they knew: fire, shelter, safety, the graves of their dead. They went anyway. Not one person. Entire families, children, elders, pregnant women, all of them stepping into something that had no name yet. We are here today because they did, and the story of how they crossed is one of the most astonishing things the human species has ever done, because boats, as we understand them, did not exist yet. So what did they use, and how did they know where they were going? The answer will make you question everything you think you know about primitive and advanced. Let us start with what the water actually looked like. 70,000 years ago, the Earth was in the grip of an ice age. Sea levels were not where they are today. They were lower, dramatically lower, in some places up to 400 feet lower than the ocean surface you see now. That changes everything. Islands that appear separate on a modern map were connected then. Shallow seas between landmasses were exposed land. Places we now call ocean floor were open plains, forests, and river valleys where animals grazed and humans walked. Researchers call this Sundaland, a massive landmass connecting what is now Malaysia, Indonesia, Borneo, Java, and Sumatra. Ancient humans did not cross the ocean to reach Southeast Asia. They walked there. Much of the migration happened on dry land that the rising sea swallowed later, but not all of it. Some crossings still required water. Even at the lowest sea levels, certain gaps remained. The stretch between Sundaland and Australia, for example, was never a land bridge. It was always open ocean. At minimum, 50 miles of deep, fast-moving, dangerous water, and 65,000 years ago, humans crossed it. Here's what makes that crossing almost impossible to explain. You cannot see Australia from the islands of Indonesia, not even from the highest point, not even on the clearest day. The curvature of the Earth puts it completely out of sight. The people who crossed were not following a visible destination. They were following something else. Birds. Ancient navigators across the Pacific and Indian Ocean regions used bird flight patterns to track landmasses over the horizon. Certain species fly toward land at dusk to roost. If you watch where they go as the sun falls, you can follow them toward an island you cannot see. Smoke. Volcanic islands produce columns of smoke and ash visible from enormous distances. Several islands in the Indonesian archipelago are volcanic. From the right angle, on the right day, the sky above Australia's northern coast would have shown signs of land, long before the land itself appeared, and the ocean itself was a map. Swell patterns, current directions, water temperature changes, the color shift where a river empties fresh water into salt, the smell of vegetation on the wind. These were not guesses. They were precise, repeatable, teachable techniques, passed down through generations of people who had spent their entire lives reading water. And then there were the vessels. Not boats, not yet, but not nothing. The oldest watercraft evidence comes from the island of Flores in Indonesia, dating to at least 800,000 years ago. Homo erectus, a species that preceded modern humans by nearly 1 million years, somehow reached Flores. Flores was never connected to the mainland. Getting there required crossing water, a log, a bundle of reeds, a raft of bamboo lashed together with plant fiber. Nothing that survives 800,000 years in the ground, but something, because the humans were there, and humans do not walk on water. So here's what we actually know. Ancient humans crossed open ocean without metal tools, without written navigation, without any technology we would recognize as sophisticated. They read the sky, they read the birds, they read the water itself. They built rafts from materials that decompose completely, leaving no trace in the archaeological record. They carried knowledge in their heads that no instrument could replicate. And they crossed, 65,000 years ago, into a continent where no human had ever set foot, into a world they had never seen, with children on their backs, and nothing but ocean in front of them. We call them primitive. We are the ones who cannot cross a city without a phone telling us where to turn. They crossed an ocean with no end in sight, using nothing but their eyes, their memory, and whatever they could pull from the forest before they launched. Primitive is not the right word. It never was.